Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I am Adrian Fort, and we are here for another poetry discussion. A poetry discussion which will appear in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one, of course, being the poetry discussion playlist, but number two, a poem by poem read along for Sylvia Plath, the collected poems. All of Sylvia Plath's poems. This poem, the poem in question today, The Beggars. It's a poem that has given me fits. I will say that. It is a poem that I'm still not sure I know exactly what to think about. So let's just get into it. Nightfall, cold eye, neither disheartens these goatish tragedians who hawk misfortune like figs and chickens, and plaintive against each day decry nature's partial haphazard thumb. Under white wall and Moorish window, grief's honest grimace debased by time, caricatures itself and thrives on the coins of pity. At random, a beggar stops among eggs and loaves, props a leg stump upon a crutch, jiggles his tin cup at the goodwives. By lack and loss, these beggars encroach on the spirits tenderer than theirs, suffering toughened beyond the fetch of finest conscience. Nightfall obscures the bay's sheer, extravagant blue, white house and almond grove. The beggars outlast their evilest star, wryly and with perfidious verve, baffle the dark, the pitying eye. If they would rather die, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Jesus Christ, Scrooge, what a wild, wild poem. Um, the beggars just saying, hey, screw all those poor folk, right? Um, First off, I want to point out I had no idea. Where is it? Tragedian was a word. What a wonderful word. I'm going to have to keep that in the arsenal. Tragedian. One who is in a tragedy, an actor in a tragedy. But I think when you take a step back and you really start to wonder about this poem, the first thing that you have to ask yourself is something close to how reliable is our narrator. Of course, it's not exactly reliability that we're talking about. How genuine is our narrator, not necessarily how reliable. The reliability of our narrator is whether or not we can believe them. How genuine our narrator is leaves us questioning their use of irony, leaves us questioning their use of humor, leaves us questioning um, their intended audience, right? So if you are not speaking in a genuine fashion, are you speaking to someone to whom you want to speak, right? Implied audience comes into question when you're asking about the genuine nature of a speaker or whether or not they are reliable. Is this poem genuine? Is our speaker speaking for themselves, or are they mocking the harsh nature of a viewpoint opposite to theirs? My instinct would be to credit it that slant. my instinct would be to say that the speaker here is not endorsing this um, Ebenezer Scrooge type viewpoint on things, but rather that our speaker has witnessed something that is utterly contemptible and is mawkishly adopting that speaking style. Except that there is an aggrieved party. So we might have a little bit. Pardon me, guys. I've been sick for 4 months now. I don't know what's going on. We have a little bit of what might be a tell here. A beggar stops among eggs and loaves, props a leg stump upon a crutch, jiggles his tin cup at the goodwives. By lack and loss, these beggars encroach on spirits tenderer than theirs, suffering toughened beyond the fetch. There is an aggrieved party there, correct? These goodwives, jiggling his cup at the goodwives. This means that we are adopting the viewpoint here of the goodwives. I don't know exactly what the beef would be between Sylvia Plath and the goodwives, but those two stanzas there basically break down exactly those two stanzas there basically break down exactly the viewpoint that has to either be adopted or discarded for this poem to make sense. Does that make sense? If the goodwives are to be sympathetic figures, then if the goodwives are sympathetic figures, the tone of this poem is genuine. If the goodwives are being mocked here, if the goodwives are being employed in ironic fashion, then we are not saying this poem with direct intent. It is, in fact, employed irony. Perhaps deployed irony would be a better way to say it there. But that, it would seem to me, is the point upon which the entirety of this poem is contingent. Do we sympathize with those being begged, or do we sympathize with those begging? And it is difficult for me to believe that we are not sympathizing with those who are begging, especially when, they're not acting. It's hard to do much with a leg stump, right? We are going back 70 years in time here. I think this is listed in the collection in 1956. So 70 years ago, how much has technology advanced in the past 70 years that makes life and work easier for someone who might have something like this, a leg stump as opposed to a full leg, versus 70 years ago, when this type of begging may have been necessary to get through the work week, through the day, just to the end of the month for individuals with a disability, right? So you tell me, is this poem written in genuine fashion, or is this a mockery? that is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do on the channel, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, there's literature on the channel. That's all I do here. There's poetry on the channel every Monday. And if you enjoy short stories, novels, writing, any of that stuff, I cover all of that type of stuff here as well. So I'd love to have you back for the next video.